Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying the wonderful weather today. Over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be sending out a daily video clip like this one, and every day I'll be sharing a short insight or some information, a law regarding the Holy Temple that stood in Jerusalem, the Beis HaMikdash. The reason for this is that we are now in the time period between the two fasts known as Bein HaMetzarim, the fast day of the 17th of Tammuz and the fast day of the 9th of Av, Shiva Asar B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. And it's during this time that we mourn the destruction of our holy temples. And therefore, it is an appropriate custom to use this time, these 3 weeks, to familiarize ourselves with the structure of the Holy Temple and to actually study the laws and the information about the temple that once stood in Jerusalem, and that we wait for its rebuilding when it will stand once again in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. So for today's insight, I would like to actually explain why it is even appropriate and why it has become a custom to study these laws during this time. Well, this actually goes back to the prophet Ezekiel. When God commanded the prophet Ezekiel and gave him the blueprint and the plans for the third Holy Temple, Ezekiel asked Hashem, he said, Hashem, the Jewish people are now going into exile. Why are you telling them now about the instructions for how to build the Beis HaMikdash? Surely it would be more appropriate to wait for the redemption and then instruct them on the building of the Beis HaMikdash. Hashem answered Ezekiel and he said, the reason is that even though my children, even though the Jewish people are being exiled from their land and they will not be able to build the temple physically, should they not be able to study its structure? Not only that, Hashem told Ezekiel, when the Jewish people will study the details and the plan of the Beis HaMikdash, of the Holy Temple, I will consider it as though they have actually built it. And therefore, there is no more appropriate time than during these 3 weeks, when we mourn the destruction of our holy temples, to revisit this topic in Jewish learning and become a bit more familiar with that amazing building that once stood in Jerusalem. It all goes back to the verse that you see on the Aron Kodesh right behind me, Va'asu li mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. Hashem says, make for me a sanctuary, and I will dwell amongst them. This is the command that Hashem gave to build the Beis HaMikdash, first to build the sanctuary that stood in the desert, and then the Holy Temple. And as Hashem told Ezekiel, when we cannot build it physically, through studying about it, we actually can fulfill this mitzvah. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.